Hello everyone, my name's Killjoy. I'm going to be teaching people how to make a character today in D&D 5e. We're going to be using D&D Beyond. It's a really good resource for making a D&D character since it's integrated into a lot of D&D virtual tabletops, which we'll get into later. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to make an account. I already got one. It's not too hard. You just need an email. Then you're going to go to My Characters. You should start out with none. I have several. If you have a free account, you only get 6 characters. There are 2 types of subscriptions. Most people don't need one unless they're specifically wanting to do homebrew, or if they are wanting to do more with their D&D Beyond account. So as soon as you get here, you can either download a blank character sheet if you just want to have one available, or you can go to create character. There are a couple options. Standard is what we're going to be going through today. If you're brand new, you can hit the beginner button, and it'll show you step by step how to make a character. There's also pre-made. These are for modules. Modules are D&D books that are set up to be a contained campaign. So it's a whole adventure. The pre-made characters are in those adventures, or they're characters that are from the D&D lore. Random, I don't know who would use random. It would just make you a random character at the level you say to make. That seems silly. Maybe people do it for challenges, and you have to solve for the difficult character challenges you have with a random character. And then there's quick build. Quick build is for if you want to just get right into the thick of it. You hit this. You select 2 things, and bam, you have a character. It's for low customization options. So we're going to click standard. All right, so you're going to see a couple options. We're going to name this guy Steve. So you put your name there. You can do suggestions. This links to a lovely resource called Fantasy Name Generator. Lovely site, gives you random names. Some of them work really good, some of them don't. We're going to select a portrait. We haven't picked his species yet, so we'll wait on that. So these are your sources. This is where the D&D Beyond website is going to be pulling all the data from for the options you have available. And I'll go into what those options are later in the video. We have homebrew. This is stuff you make or other people make that aren't directly tied to Wizards of the Coast or D&D Beyond or some other third-party company. This is fan-made stuff. Usually you are going to want to get your DM's approval for this. It's important that you talk to your DM. Otherwise, you are probably going to pick something that doesn't necessarily jive with their playstyle. Expanded rules. This is anything past the core rulebook in Legacy. I'll go into Legacy versus 2024 rules in a bit. 2014 core rules. These are the Legacy rules. These are rules that have since they're 10 years old. They've updated them. And then Legacy, I'm not sure what the difference between 2014 and Legacy. This might be things beyond the free core rules of 2014. These 3 options are 2014 rule sets. Partner content. So this is all the third-party content. These are your Critical Roles, your Dungeon Dudes Drakenheim, your Grim Hollow, anything from Cobalt Press, Griffin Saddlebag, apparently Minecraft, and then there's a Rick and Morty one-shot adventure that's I've heard mixed things. It doesn't sound all that fun. This is the enable dice rolling option. This is so you can roll in your character sheet and basically turn your character sheet into a random number generator for yourself. These 2 options are optional features. These were introduced in the expanded rules. These are optional class features. These give you new options when you're making a legacy character. These help you either replace a feature that had seemed to have not been as good, or add a feature to a class that had since been lacking or lacked some versatility that Wizards thought needed to be addressed. We're going to click both of the... we're going to click this. Customize Origin. This is if you don't find any of the species options fun. This lets you just make I'm this, and these are my things. This is a really simple origin. It will not have the same flavor as a fully fleshed out species. And that's unfortunate, but for some people that's enough. You just want to play what you want to play without having to worry about the options of a species or homebrewing something. Advancement types. There are 2 advancement types. There's Milestone and EXP. EXP is for more dungeon delving and monster of the week kind of things. This is classic D&D. This is like, I need to kill 1,000,000 boars to level up kind of jokey. We call that anthilling in D&D. It's basically when you kill a bunch of things that are so meaningless and easy to kill that you just want to level up and move to the next thing. That's why Milestone is preferred for narratives. That's when the DM decides when you level up. And it's a double-edged sword. Some DMs are really stingy with levels. Some DMs are generous with levels, and you level up too fast, and it kind of robs you of the narrative weight of your growth. This is something you need to talk with your GM about. It's really important. I'm going to hammer home communication throughout this whole thing. Talk to your GM the entire time you're playing. It's important. It's a social game. You have to do it. It's not optional. Then you have hit point types. Manual and fixed. Fixed is going to work pretty simply. It's the most fair option. What it does is it sets your HP at max at first level, plus your Constitution modifier. We'll get into what a Constitution modifier is in a bit. Fixed, after level 1, is half your level plus your Constitution modifier. That is... so it's fair for everyone. No one gets robbed. Manual is for rolled, or when you're, or if your DM has some kind of home rule for just having a set number of HP. Some DMs are just going to be like, I want everyone to have 300 HP. And that's cool. If you don't like that, don't play with them or talk to them about it. So we're going to go with fixed. These are optional features. This is the feat optional feature and multi-class requirements. If you have feats checked, this allows you to select feats as an optional rule when you get an ability score improvement. And then multi-class requirements is if you turn this off, you don't need to meet certain thresholds to multi-class. I will explain multi-class when we get to a class. The important thing with feats is this is to increase your versatility as a character. That way you don't run into problems, everything feeling samey. So if everyone's playing a fighter, feats really flesh out everyone so they're not trapped in this samey kind of vibe. Show level scaled spells is for tracking which spells get better as you level up. This is important. As you get in higher levels, you want to know what these spells are so you know if you want to pick these. Not all spells are created equal. Some spells are one and done. You select it, it is as good as it's going to get from the level you picked it up at to level 20. Some of those are really good spells. Some of them are terrible. We can go into spells when we get to that part of the character thing. A lot of this is going to be waiting until we get to the class. I'm just explaining how this page really determines how the game is going to go. This is all stuff your DM should tell you to fill out. This is something you're going to talk to your DM about before you start making a character. Encumbrance. This is how much stuff you have on you. Some DMs use encumbrance to force people to track or be more frugal with what they're putting in their bags of holding or on their body. No encumbrance. I've mostly played with this. No encumbrances. There are no rules. It won't affect your character sheet no matter how much weight you put on them. This is more like, I don't want to track this stuff, so I'm not going to make you. However, be kind to your GMs. Don't be that guy who buys 30 coffins because, haha, no encumbrance. I can do that. It makes GMs have to pick the encumbrance rules. And then there's variant encumbrance. Variant encumbrance is if you want to do extra work to track all your stuff. It's gonna make you track what's in your backpack. It's gonna make you track what's on your body. It's gonna make you track where what is. And if you hit your encumbrance threshold, you get penalties. We're gonna choose no encumbrance. Ignore coin weight. This is important. I have never met anyone who says, please don't ignore coin weight. There's a reason it's the default. No one wants to have to track how much weight in gold you're carrying how much weight in gold you're carrying. The joke is that only damaged DMs who have reached the breaking point will choose this option. You have to really hurt your DM to make them do this. They don't want you to have gold on you when you go to the shop, or they want you to make multiple trips, or they want you to, go see a bank and get a loan or some kind of voucher or writ that makes you able to purchase the things you have to purchase. It's extra hurdles to either immerse you in the game or punish you for being mean to them. And it happens. People get petty in this game. You got to learn to resolve conflict. Next is modifier display. This is for ability scores. They will be explained later in the video. Modifiers on top, scores on top. This determines what is displayed to you so you can do your math better. If you want to have scores on top so you know what your ability scores are, you can do that. I prefer modifiers on top because it makes doing the math that much faster. It's important that you try to make it as easy as possible, because this game can get a little bogged down when people aren't either paying attention or keeping track of their stats, and force the GM to stop everything to look at your character sheet and track something you should be tracking yourself. All right, for class, we're gonna go with I'm going to do a legacy class. So if you look, these are the 2024 rules. These are newer rules. They're a little bit different than what I'm used to playing. I can make another video on making a 2024 character. I'm going to have to do a little bit of reading on it for the little eccentricities and try to help you navigate those. But from what I've seen, it's fairly the same with a few minor quality of life changes. Whether those changes are good or bad is up to personal preference. I know people who are going, in 5 years, people are going to be like, why do people play Legacy? And it's because people started playing Legacy. Legacy's going to be 15 years old by then. Not everyone's going to get why people play Legacy. And then people are going to be like, why do people play 2024? It's bad and it's not the same. Play what you want to play. Play what your GM is asking you to play. And try not to argue or say, well, in this system, in that system, it's a bad habit I have, and I try to fight. Okay, so this is the class screen. As you can see, I have a book that gives me an extra class. I will explain how that works later. These are expanded rules. As I said before, these are in addition to our existing rules. Today we're gonna make a warlock. Oh, and this is a class given to me by a third party. This is Critical Role's Blood Hunter. Interesting fact, this was made for Vin Diesel for the last Witch Hunter movie. It was kind of an advertisement. I could be wrong. I need to probably fact check myself on this, but from what I remember, it was made for the last Witch Hunter Vin Diesel character for a one-shot they did for... It's a famous D&D thing Critical Role ran. They ran it with Terry Crews, Vin Diesel, and one other guy. I can't remember. Cool videos. Maybe go check them out. Maybe not. I don't know if you like Vin Diesel. So we're going to make a warlock. Sorry about the tangent. We're going to make a level 1 warlock. This... one of the reasons I picked the warlock is it gives you a look at a feature that usually doesn't come until level 3. So, and it also lets me explain spells. This is going to explain your hit points. A hit dice is how much hit points you gain per level. These are important. Excuse me. These are important for rests, which I can explain once we finish making the character. So you get 1d8 per warlock level. The importance of that is that that's middle of the road as far as hit dice. Hit dice range from d6 to d12. D8 being the middle of the road. This is you're not squishy, you're not tanky, you're just kind of able to take a hit better than the squishies. We are going to pick our proficiencies. So proficiencies are, so as you level up, you get a proficiency modifier. I believe it starts at 2 and advances at a set rate as you level up. If you have a proficiency, it means you don't get either a penalty or you get to add your proficiency modifier to whatever that is. So light armor proficiency, that means you can wear light armors without taking a penalty to it. Simple weapons, they are the bog standard weapons. These are things that you can just pick up and use without any training. It's a stick that has a weighted end. That is a club. It is a quarterstaff, which is just a tree branch, a fancy name for a tree branch. Daggers, crossbows, javelins, simple to use weapons. No training needed. Any Tom, Dick, and Harry can pick them up and use them. Tools. These are things that are specialty items in the game. So like lock picks, blacksmithing tools, calligraphy sets, instruments. Tools, to use a tool properly, you have to have the proficiency. Otherwise, you don't get your proficiency modifier to it and could incur a penalty or cause harm with whatever you're doing. Like, not everyone knows how to pick a lock. You can try, but you're not going to get very far and could jam up the lock because you're just unskilled. And then there's saving throws. So saving throws are how you resist spell and ability effects. Wisdom and charisma. These are ability scores. I will explain them later. But saving throws are important. They're one of the key features of the game. Everyone has 2. One of these is really common. The other is a little bit more rare. So like int is intelligence is one of the more rare saving throws. I believe the wizard and the artificer get it, and that's it. And it makes it so they have those spells that target intelligence really hit hard. Another rare one, I believe, is charisma or one of the other ones. There are really common ones. I believe Constitution is the most common saving throw in the game as far as monsters are concerned. And then you have skills. As you can see, there's 2 drop downs. You get to pick 2 of these. I will explain all the skills. Let me back up. So we were gonna make a warlock. I'm gonna make a bard instead because a bard has another feature I would like to explain. So bards are fun. They get tools. There are a bunch of instruments. We're gonna go with a trumpet. You know, fun. A lute, and we'll go with a fiddle. You know, he's ready for, you know, either blasting your drums out with a trumpet or doing a fiddle battle with the devil. It's great. So fun. Bards are fun. Bards have access to all skills. They literally get a feature called Jack of all trades. So, fun thing, they get acrobatics. Acrobatics is your ability to dodge, tumble, avoid, falling, stuff like that. It's walking across slick surfaces. There's animal handling. This is, you know, animal husbandry, calming a dangerous animal down, training an animal to a specific task, or generally just knowing animal behaviors and body languages. Arcana. This is any magic produced by man. This is your wizards and sorcerers and magic items. This is what you use when a person, a living being, created something. Athletics. This is pushing, pulling, lifting. This is your strongman routine stuff. Deception. This is This is for lying. This is for stone-faced, gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss shit. History. This is for anything, any knowledges of past events, local, political, you know, world history, local history, a folk tale that happened like God knows how long ago. Insight. This is your ability to check if something's a lie. This is getting past someone's poker face, picking up on human body language. Intimidation. This is coercion, bullying, making sure that like you're strong arming someone. This is bad cop shit. Investigation. This is really hands-on in examining something. This is picking up and manipulating it and trying to determine its function, or going through drawers in a room, actively searching. Medicine. This is, fixing someone up. This is slapping on bandages and treating for shock by bending their legs and giving them hot cocoa and a blanket. Nature. This is important. You need nature if you want to analyze plants for poisons. This is your knowledge of the natural world, not your knowledge of what the natural world is currently doing or going to be doing, but of the natural world, so you can tell what's poison ivy and what's just a leaf. So if you're out in the forest and you need to wipe, you're not going to wipe with poison ivy. Perception. This is your ability to grasp your surroundings. It's looking around with your eyeballs and ears. That's the other thing. It's important. This includes your ears. Even your skin. It's picking up on the local phenomena and pulling that in and analyzing it, so you are aware of there's a kobold hiding up on a hilltop, and you pick that up. Interesting thing about insight, investigation, and perception. They have passives. DMs use these differently. I interpret that as you're not always going to be told, hey, roll this, because sometimes that breaks immersion. Not every GM's going to tell you when to roll. Sometimes you're going to walk into a room, step on a trap, and you're going to be like, why the hell wasn't I told that there was a trap? It's because you didn't roll. What I usually do is if someone has a high insight or high investigation or high perception, as they do their stuff, you're going to pick up on things. They're not the answer. They're just telling you something's up. So I'll tell a player, hey, this guy's sweating a lot as he tells you this story, or you catch something out of the corner of your eye, or you're investigating something and you should be investigating something, and you see something glinting out of the corner of your eye. Those kind of subtle hints that you should probably roll. It helps keep the immersion going. This is for DMs, really. Some people argue that you shouldn't be able to roll lower than your passives, but sharp-eyed people miss stuff all the time. Passive is not a lower threshold of what you can roll. It is just in my opinion, what your ability to naturally grasp the situational awareness around you. Performance. This is, magic tricks, playing an instrument, generally, being silly. Comedy is part of performance. This is to put on a show. Persuasion. This is your good cop. This is quid quo pro. This is doing a good deal. This is not trying to swindle someone. This is not trying to strong-arm someone. This is saying, hey, I understand. I'm going to, here's my offer. What's your offer? This is your good cop stuff. Religion. This is analyzing any magic that is not from a human. This is and I say human, creature, living thing. Comes from on high. This is someone was struck by lightning. Was it God or was it a wizard? And you roll a religion check to see if it was God. It's really funny when someone makes a cleric who doesn't have ranks in religion. I always say I don't know the name of my God. I just know the sound he makes when he smites people. Very funny. Religion check is usually to determine what a cleric is. It gives you ideas of what cult you're currently fighting, so you can understand their tactics. History on religious significance. Knowing when a god is good or bad or neutral or when you're encountering a trickster god, you can be like, oh no, I should probably be on my best behavior, because if I give my name out to this trickster god, I will lose it. Sleight of hand is your card tricks, your coin trick, being able to hide a weapon in your sleeve or on your person without someone else finding it. You can also pickpocket with it. A lot of people just use it for pickpocketing. It's got a lot of uses. And then there's stealth. Stealth is hiding. I really want to hammer home. Stealth usually requires cover. You can't use stealth unless you're hiding behind something or hiding in something. So a mist or something is in between you and the observer, or you're not being observed. At that point, if no one's looking for you, you're already invisible. because they're not aware that there's a problem. Stealth at that point is used to keep yourself quiet. Soft footsteps, not stepping on sticks, just generally, being careful with what you're doing. And then survival. Survival's fun. This is being able to subsist off the land, so it's your fishing, your game hunting. This is for killing small deer and bringing meat back home, or trapping rabbits, or picking berries. Other thing you can do with survival is determine the weather for X amount of days, or what tomorrow's weather is going to be like. What hazards are going to be in the area. So like if the area is prone to rock slides, you can roll survival. Or if there's going to be a mudslide, survival. Some people get this mixed up with nature. Some people use them interchangeably. I try to keep survival and nature as a knowledge replacement for anything that's nature-based. We're going to let's make a diplomat. In performance, he's a bard, and then we'll make a insight. We'll make a bastard. And so, we choose 3 skills. I explained this before. They have dexterity and charisma. They get to choose 3 instrument tools. They have proficiency with simple weapons, as well as hand crossbows, long swords, rapiers, and short swords. That means they can use those weapons in addition. They have light armor, and they have a D8 hit dice. They have spell casting. This is fun. This lets them pick spells. Some of the spells you get to pick are, when you pick a spell, you get this thing called a spell DC. That's how hard it is for an enemy to resist it. When they roll a saving throw, and a spell will tell you what saving throw to roll. This tells you what saving throw. Tells you how hard it is to resist that spell. And same with the attack modifier. That's something you roll to hit them through their armor class. They are ritual casting. That means if they know a spell that can be cast without needing to use a spell slot, I'll explain spell slots shortly. That is a thing that you can just do for 10 minutes, and then the spell is cast. You do a little tiny ritual, and boom, you can cast that spell no matter what. It just takes time, and that's the resource you use instead of a spell slot. Spellcasting focuses. Some classes have important spellcasting focuses, some don't. For a bard, it's a musical instrument. A really slept-on feature of spellcasting focuses, if you destroy or take away a bard's instrument, they can't cast spells without the material components. And I think that's why a lot of people think martial classes and spell classes there's a gulf. But it would be very conceivable for a fighter or a barbarian to run up to a bard and rip the guitar from his hand, and he is SOL as far as spells are concerned. You have removed his ability to use most of his features. Bardic inspiration. So this is the key feature of a bard. So bardic inspiration lets you inspire others through song or inspiring words. They get to first level, anyone within 60 feet, you get to roll you get to let them add a d6 to the next roll within so once within 10 minutes, the next 10 minutes, a creature can add the inspiration dice to their roll, an ability check, attack roll, or saving throw. At certain levels, bards get a new feature that changes how this works. I can go into that in a later thing, maybe when we decide to level up this character in a later video or stream or something. So we've selected that. Now we can go to optional features. These are fun. This adds more bard spells. So these are spells they wouldn't normally get. This was laid out in a different book. These spells either came out in a book that came out later, or these were determined to be things that were oversights at the time of the creation of the class. And it's an additional feature. That means it doesn't replace anything. You can just click this with your DM's permission, of course, and it just happens. We have magical inspiration. This is a huge feature and quality of life improvement. What this does is let you be a better healer or better damage caster. If a creature has an inspiration dice from you and they cast a spell that restores hit points or deals damage, they can roll their inspiration dice to add to those features. Like I said, this lets you choose those things. Notice that they have a level requirement. That means you don't get it until later. So, and then we get spells. Spells are important for bards. They're one of your bread and butter features. So these are spells. You'll notice that some of these spells have different symbols around them or whatnot. So spells are broken down by their spell schools. I can explain that in a different video that goes over what spells are, what they do, the intricacies. Right now I'm going to focus on the various types of spells and how they work. So cantrips. Cantrips are spells that you can cast always. You never run out of the slots. There are no slots. You just know this spell. It's so easy to cast. It's just part of your features. For this guy, since he's a diplomat, we're going to pick Friends. This is a enchantment spell. What it costs is 1 action. There's an action economy in D&D. There's 3 actions. 4 if you count reactions. I can explain reactions in a bit. There's actions, which are big movements. These are things that require a lot of effort. These are swinging a sword, casting most spells. This is stuff that requires a lot of your time and focus. There's bonus actions. Bonus actions are simpler things that can happen after an action, before an action. They're supplemental things. They are things that help and can be done in addition to an action. And then there's movement. Movement is fun. It happens simultaneously. So if you imagine a turn in D&D is 6 seconds, and that 6 seconds happens all at once. So when you cast a spell, move, and use a bonus action, that happens while you're moving. So you're moving, and on the little screen or on the tabletop, you're going to move, then do the things. However, if you want to conceptualize things better, you're moving and doing those things. And that's where you end up to do those things. This is a fun spell. It does require some things. So it's range self. You cast this on you. That is who you target with this. That means some things. It means you don't need to have line of sight or line of effect. Line of sight means you have to be able to see your target. Line of effect means there shouldn't be a wall or any obscuring feature between you and them. Total cover is something we can go in like a rules supplement video. If they are completely obscured by a wall, you cannot target them with a spell. You have broken line of effect. They cannot target you with that spell, except in certain circumstances. And those are explained in the spell. If a spell says it can do a thing, it can do a thing even if that thing breaks the rules. Components. There are a couple components. There are schematic, verbal, and material components. There are also special material components. This requires schematic. That means you move your hands. And material. This is usually removed by your spell focus. So if you're a bard and you have and you want to cast the spell, you could use your fiddle's bow as a wand kind of like deal. You don't necessarily have to play because there's no verbal component. This is a fun one. A small amount of makeup applied to the face as this spell is cast. So like you slap on some lead-based paint on your face. It's great. Duration. Some spells just have a duration. This spell requires you to focus on it. It's a concentration spell. You cannot focus on 2 concentration spells at once. It's one at a time. If you cast another one, it ends the duration of the previous concentration spell you cast. You don't get to decide. Some DMs will stop you and say, hey, are you sure about that? Most DMs at a certain level will just not let you and end the beneficial effect. They'll end the effect of that spell as you cast it and won't tell you. And when it comes around and you're like, oh, it does the thing. They're going to be like, no, it doesn't do the thing. You cast another concentration spell. Your job is to remember your stuff. The GM's job is to remember most everything. GMs are going to forget things. You're going to forget things. No one likes a snitch, but if it's starting to ruin the fun, sometimes you're going to get called out. So we're going to pick Friends. What this does is, for the duration, you have advantage on all charisma checks directed at one creature of your choice that isn't hostile towards you. When the spell ends, the creature realizes that you tricked it, and it becomes hostile. Moods are important. Hostile means that they are immediately going to engage in combat with you. This spell will mess up your day if you're not careful. It's a cantrip. That means you can cast it all day. If you keep doing this, you will... It's a really fast way to alienate a town and really muddle a story. You have to be careful with what you do in D&D, because the DM has to clean up after you if he even bothers to. Some people are going to do that. They're going to be like, I understand. Look, it was a tempting thing. I get it. You're a young mage. I'm going to let this pass. Don't do it again. Or the town guards are going to descend upon you in force, and you're going to TPK before the game even starts. You are a level 1 bard. You are not going to be able to take on the town's guard. And if you can, that's a problem. The DM should probably reassess how they handle their combat. There are a number of other spells. We're going to pick Vicious Mockery, because that is a combat spell. This is a fun spell. It is also another enchantment spell. So this one has casting time of 1 minute, 1 action. 60 feet. That means anyone within 60 feet can be targeted with this spell as long as you have line of effect and line of sight. Components, verbal. This means you have to speak the spell. That means anyone who can hear will know that you're up to something. Duration, instantaneous. That means it happens immediately. There is no carry-on effect. There's no need to track a carry-on effect as a player. Attack/save. This tells you how it affects the creature. This is a wisdom saving throw. That means the target has to roll a wisdom saving throw or be hit by this spell and its secondary effect. You unleash a string of insults laced with subtle enchantment magic at the creature you can see within range. If the target can hear you, though it need not understand you, that means it's not language dependent. They don't need to. They get that you said something mean. It must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or take 1d4 psychic damage. Damages are important. I may explain those in a different video. There are things that'll let you shrug off damage, and they have disadvantage on their next attack roll. This is you basically you give them the yips. You hit them with an insult so mean, they're going to probably miss their next attack and feel really bad about it, setting you up for the next time you hit them with this spell. As you level up, this spell gets more damaging. Around every 5 levels, it gets a little bit better. It depends. I think it's actually 6, except the first level is level 5. Bards get 2 cantrips at level 1. It's really small. Some classes get a lot of cantrips, some classes don't. We're gonna pick our spells now. Let's pick Cure Wounds. This is a healing spell. This has verbal and somatic. That means you have to be able to speak and move your hands. This is important because some spells you cannot cast while being tied up or bound by handcuffs and stuff, and that's important to remember as a GM and a player. Sometimes you're not going to be able to cast things, and that's fine. You have to be resourceful in this game. It's a strategy game, among other things. It's got a range of touch. That means you have to physically touch whatever you want to cast this on for it to work. This spell is instantaneous. That means it doesn't have a prolonged effect. A creature you touch regains a number of hit points equal to 1d8 plus your spellcasting ability modifier. This is important. Multiple classes get this spell, and it's determined by whatever spellcaster you cast it from. So if you have Cure Wounds on a cleric, if you are a cleric bard, where you cast your Cure Wounds from matters, because sometimes it'll be wisdom, sometimes it'll be charisma. So we're gonna pick that up. And then we are diplomat. We need to remember this. We're gonna pick up heroism. Heroism's fun. Heroism's a good one. You touch a creature, they get imbued with bravery. Until the spell ends, they are immune to fear. Frightened. The frightened condition. Conditions are another thing I might go over. And gain temporary hit points. More things I will go over eventually. Equal to your spellcasting ability modifier at the start of each of its turns. When the spell ends, target loses any remaining temporary hit points. This is an interesting spell. It scales. So as you cast this, you can hit more creatures with it. Nope, that was the correct heroism. Okay. It is a concentration spell. Okay, we're going to pick up Illusory Script. This is a ritual spell. That means it can be cast over 10 minutes. It also has a fun duration. It lasts 10 days. It's a long-lasting effect. We'll do sleep. That's a fun one. It was made into a concentration spell in the new system. So how this works is, this is a interesting spell. This has no saving throw. This just hits people, and it hits people in a 20-foot sphere. So on the map, you'll have a sphere. That means in all directions, centered on wherever you point, in 20 feet, that will hit things. It lasts 1 minute. The spell sends a creature into a magical slumber. You roll 5d8. However high you roll, you must hit a threshold on a creature's hit points to put them to sleep. So if they're damaged, this spell is easier to cast on them. If I remember correctly, it has some caveats. This starts with the creature with the lowest hit points, and then goes up from there. If a sleeper takes damage, someone uses an action to shake or slap them awake, it is made awake, and the spell ends for that creature. You subtract the total hit points from the pool that you rolled with the 5d8 before moving on to the next creature. And when you don't put a creature to sleep, the spell's over. It doesn't affect anymore. This is a really good spell that I think if I remember correctly, it falls off pretty heavily because HP scales pretty quickly in 5e. So it's not the best spell, it's not the worst. We're gonna pick up Tasha's Hideous Laughter because everyone loves a good... oh, never mind. We ran out of spell slots. It happens. So we picked our 4 spells and our 4 cantrips. Legacy bards are known spellcasters. That means they have a set spell list that they can't change. They just draw from that list. Next, we're going to pick our background. We're gonna go real quick with this one. We're gonna pick a courtier. Courtiers are people who attend court with nobles, and they like to go to fancy dinner parties with all the rich people. They get persuasion, and so how this works is we've already picked that skill. This lets us pick a different skill in response. We'll go with perception. And then we get to choose 2 languages. Languages are fun. This is how you communicate with people. Everyone, if I remember correctly, every race gets common plus their racial language. This is in addition to those. So we'll go with Giant and... oh, Giant's not a very good one. We'll go with Draconic. Sylvan. You never know when you're going to encounter a Fae that you need to talk your way out of dealing with. Species. I'm not a fan of the term species. Before it was race. They changed it for reasons. Other systems tend to use the term ancestry. I prefer that because it's where you came from. This is who your parents were. If you really want to get down to the nitty-gritty. We're just going to make a human. We're going to go legacy. We're going to go legacy, and then we're going to pick human. We're going to go variant human. Variant human's fun. You have to get permission because it is a variant. You have to ask first. It gets another language, which is fun. Great for our guy. We're going to go with... we'll do Dwarvish since we're a human. We get a ability score modifier. This is, these are the various ability scores. You have strength. This is your physical push and pull, lifting. This is how strong your physicality is. Dexterity. This is fine motor functions. This is for shooting bows and picking locks. Constitution. This is how hardy your body is. This is how much you can take a hit. This determines your hit points. This is out of all of them, this is one of the more important ability scores. It affects everyone. Almost everyone has a moderate to high constitution because of how important it is to just the core combat mechanics. I like making characters who are kind of squishy. You'll see that later in the video. I have a character I've made who's leveled all the way up. He's fun. And since we're going to be needing to be a lie detector, since we're a diplomat, we pick wisdom. Skills, we get an extra skill. Ain't that fun? I love this feature. It tells you what you got from your background, so you don't double pick. It's one of the fun features about this website. We'll go with intimidation in case we need to bully someone. Feats. These are fun. So these are the feats. These are the feats. These change how you work as a character. These are huge changes in the functionality of your character and skills and stuff. We'll go with inspiring leader. You can spend 10 minutes making an inspiring speech, shoring up their resolve to fight. When you do so, choose up to 6 friendly creatures which you can include yourself within 30 feet of which you can see and or can hear you and must understand you. Each creature gains temporary hit points equal to your level plus your charisma modifier. This synergizes really well with the bard because you're always going to increase that charisma modifier. It's just going to keep going up. This really helps if you're going to be doing a big battle and you want to spend 10 minutes talking up the party and being like, let's, the this is Sparta speech. We'll fight in the rain. We'll fight in the shade kind of shit. Tonight we dine in hell. The speech from Pacific Rim, where they talk about stopping the apocalypse. Those are example of inspiring speeches. You're not never. I can't say never. Never underestimate your players. They're going to surprise you. Don't feel bad or don't penalize your players for not having a speech ready or not knowing what to say to really hype everyone up. Reward them when they do. Don't punish them when they don't. This is just a feature. If they ask you, can I give a 10-minute speech? Don't make them give a 10-minute speech if they're a little gun shy about spending a long period of time talking. I also don't ever make someone do 10 minutes of speech. That's insane. You will slow your game to a halt. Generation method. This is something your DM's going to tell you to pick. This is something you don't get to decide yourself. So, standard array. Standard array, you have 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, and 8. These are your ability scores. A 15 gives you a +2 modifier. So ability scores range from 20 to 1 for player characters. You can't get above 20 without certain things that you can't get at first level. There's really no way to get above a 20 at first level. You can barely get above an 18. You can barely get to 18 on most characters at first level. Don't feel bad if you have low scores. That's normal. So, we're a bard. We're going to want 15 in charisma just to make sure that our features hit. Also, this determines our bardic inspiration. If you have... did I pick I did pick Constitution. My bad. I'm a little dyslexic, guys. I didn't pick the correct thing. We're going to make this charisma. Silly me. So this makes it 16. This makes it a +3. So 4 ability scores. Every even number above 10, your ability score goes up to 20, which is a +5. Every ability score that is odd below 10, it goes down by 1. So at 9, it's -1. At 8, it's not 8. At 7, it's -2. All the way down to 1, where it's -5. If you have a -5 in something, something's very wrong. If you have a -5 in intelligence, you are a drooling village idiot. You are non-functional. Animals have it. Most animals have at least a 2. You are a drooling mass of meat on the floor. You're not non-functional. You were just dumb beyond all all comprehension. Then we can go dexterity. This is going to determine your armor class. That's important when you're making a character to think ahead. If you don't want to get hit, you want a high dexterity, or you pick a lower dexterity and pick up armor. We're a bard. We have light armor. We need a higher dexterity to compensate for that. Then we're gonna probably want Constitution, followed by Strength if we're gonna get in combat. Most people, and this is unfortunate, not everyone does this. A lot of people do this. They dump Intelligence. You're gonna have most likely an 8. Most people dump Intelligence because it doesn't have a whole lot of, and this is due to the way the game was designed, doesn't have a lot of weight mechanically, which is unfortunate. And then Wisdom just to kind of round things out. So this is standard array. There's also manual and point buy. Something interesting you can do with manual rolled. Sometimes DMs are going to tell you to roll 2 sets and pick your favorite set. So we're gonna roll these. Oh, sorry. You have to wait. D&D and Beyond is fun. It physically rolls dice and doesn't give you the answer. It's not a random number generator. It is a simulation. It has to finish rolling the dice for the answer to pop out. Is that a really quirky way to do a feature? Yeah, that's a little quirky. So, this is interesting. This is a little bit better than a standard array, just because the 9 is fixable, but this is basically your standard array. We're going to roll again. Okay, so we'd probably pick this one, this group, because it's fundamentally better. We can get an 18 in charisma. Oh, let me explain this. So when you roll these dice, you roll 4d6 and drop the lowest. Some people make you re-roll one. Some people will give you a free 18. Some people make you roll 6 times, and then give you a free 18, you drop the lowest score. It really depends on what your GM tells you to do. It's important to ask first. This is where communication is going to come in. Your DM is supposed to tell you how to create your character. They're supposed to tell you what the expectations are before starting. A lot of GMs do this for a 0 session. I'm probably going to make a video called The Anatomy of a 0 Session and talk about communication. So you see how we roll a bunch of ones and we drop them? These are really high rolls for a lot of these. So like if we're going to do this, we'd probably dump int. We'd make this con, dex, wisdom, and strength. So this is fun because now we don't have a low wisdom. It's not a 10, it's now a 15. Our 17 is now a 18. And we apply the ability scores. Boom! And it renders down here. This means that we can use our bardic inspiration 4 times now instead of once. Our vicious mockery does +4 damage, which is great. This is manual roll. Most DMs are going to make you pick point buy. You get 27 points and you buy ability scores. So 15. We're going to go with a 14, a 13, a 10, and then we're going to go 12 on this one, and we've run out of points. This is a little different. 1 second, please cut this. This is a little different than when we did point buy. It's roughly the same. Just you can go a little lower. So I built a lot of characters in point buy to be a little bit weaker, but then you can end up higher in certain spots. So like, okay, we'll go with a 13 Constitution and a 13 giving us 14. Oh, we have an extra point. We can now go to 9 on strength. It's fun. You can fiddle with your character, make them weaker. Min-max is what it's called. Not all GMs like it. They're gonna, again, they're gonna communicate with you their expectations as a player. Hopefully, if they're going to do that. They don't always do that. It happens. Here comes the fun part. We get to pick our starting equipment. Let's go. We're gonna go, since he's a courtier, we're gonna give him a rapier. We're gonna give him the diplomat's pack since we decided he was a diplomat. So this includes a chest. This is a little like foot locker that you carry with you and with your pack. 2 cases of maps and scrolls, fine clothes, a bottle of ink pen, lamp, and flasks of oil. 5 sheets of paper, a vial of perfume, sealing wax, and soap. That soap is so important for rich people. It's usually the difference between being poor and being rich is having access to soap. We decided to pick a really fun instrument. We're going to go with the trumpet. Our guy is going to blow some eardrums out, and it's going to be funny. And then you get leather armor and a dagger. This is in addition to the thing. Huge, important thing. You get you also get things based on what your background is. Before you click next, add starting equipment. It's so important that you do that. This is such a skip step, and everyone's like, why didn't I get starting equipment? The other thing you can do is just add gold and let people buy. The reason I suggest this, and usually this is really good for level 1 characters. You're gonna be buying a lot of these things anyway, and it keeps you from having to dig through the book. And by book, you don't have a book. You're doing this on D&D Beyond. It helps just expedite the process, especially at level 1. Now we have our character sheet. You can do 2 things. You can export it to PDF. Some websites will let you re-import that PDF into their website to integrate your character into their system. And then you can go to view character sheet. This is fun. So like, look, you have all these cool screens. I know it looks like a lot. It's not. Just trust that you understand how this all works. That you are not gonna get overwhelmed. Take things one thing at a time. Don't try to absorb all the information on this all at once. It looks like a lot. It really isn't. You only need to ever use 1 or 2 of these things on this screen at any given time. Key features. Here are your ability scores. Like I said, when we picked at the start, modifiers are up top. That's important when you're trying to roll just a flat ability score. Here are your saving throws. This is where you click them to roll them. These are your passives. These are your skills. You roll these like this by clicking this. Here's your initiative. This is important. This is what you roll when you start combat. Super hugely important. This is a proficiency modifier. This will go up as you level. I talked about this at the start. Walking speed. This is important. Not every creature has the same walking speed. Armor class. This will go up and down based on what you're wearing. As you click leather armor, it goes up. Make sure you equip weapons or they won't appear on your sheet. This is your weapons hit. This is what you roll to hurt things. It has to hit them before it can hurt them. This is where you track your inspiration. We can get into this when I get into combat. We might not do that. This was just kind of to explain how to make a character. We can get into that later. Spells. This will tell you if something is a ritual spell. So like they'll have that R, and so it'll just say. So it's, you see how it says cast? You can cast. Usually when you have a spell like that, it also has a cast as a ritual function. Now that we finished this, one of the things that's going to save your eyes, you can go into character settings and click Underdark mode. Boom. So much better, right? Already can see all your features and whatnot. I believe they also have themes. You can change the theme of your character. Character sheet. Source. Oh, yeah. So this is the quick preferences of your character. If your DM ever changes anything, you can change it here. Reactions. I forgot the last action in the action economy. I'm so sorry. So for those who remember, you have 3 actions plus a reaction. You have the action, which is your basic swinging swords. You have a bonus action, which is easy to cast spells that go off when you while you're doing other things. Movement, which is you can move 30 feet at any point in your turn. You can move 15 feet, attack, move 15 feet. You can move 10 feet, do 20 feet, 30 feet, at any amount at any time in 5-foot increments. And then reactions. Reactions are triggered by conditions. Every reaction is going to tell you when it goes off. And when it goes off, you can choose to use a reaction. You get one reaction at the start of each of your turn. You can't bank them, they just happen. So at the start of your turn, you recharge a reaction. This is used for things like attacks of opportunity, reaction spells. Some feats give you new reactions. Some class features give you new reactions. You can only use it once, and you have to wait until the start of your next turn to use it again. Now that we finished this character, we're going to look at a different character. We're going to look at my character, Artie. Artie is a 20th level wizard. One of the main things you can see is that he is made of tissue paper. He is so very squishy. He has 67 hit points at level 20. That is unfathomably low. He has so little HP that there are 9th level spells that can just kill him. That's part of the fun. You don't have to be the perfect character at everything. You can be bad at things. As you can see with Artie, he made it to 20th level. He has 1 strength. He doesn't always have 1 strength. He used to have 8 strength, and he has 1 constitution, -1 constitution. It's bad. He sucks. He's made of tissue paper and lies, and that's my favorite part about him. I will cherish this character's inability to take a hit forever. It's part of the fun. Embrace being bad at things. You don't want to make a Mary Sue or a Gary Stu. Even if you feel like you want to have that power fantasy going on, sometimes it's fun to let your friends make up for your weaknesses. It was really cool that my character made the healer shine. Every time I took a hit, I didn't take many. I was really good at making sure I didn't take a hit. But when I did, it mattered because the healer needed to spring into action, and it made them feel better about their role. That's not every table. Not every table is going to want to babysit your squishy. Not every table is going to want you to be squishy or weak. They want you to be able to lift your own weight. This is an example of someone who's been playing a long time and can compensate for a weaker character. We're going to go into now how to work D&D Beyond to your benefit. So to get access to certain things, you need to purchase books. Not every book is created equal. When you go to the marketplace, you're going to click on a book. You can buy a digital, physical, or digital and physical copy. If you do this, you get a discount. Quotes on the discount on the digital physical. Most of the time, you're just going to use the digital because, unfortunately, D&D Beyond is for digital products. Usually, you can get a lot of these secondhand since they're legacy. This tells you the edition. I don't know why that matters. D&D Beyond only sells 5e, to my knowledge. This might just be an artifact of when it was transitioning away from 4e or something. Or maybe a future-proofing for when they move to a different system. These are why you buy books. This gives you 48 magic items, 21 spells, 15 feats, 1 species, and 25 subclasses. This is why people buy this book. This gives you so much bang for your buck. Subclasses are what make characters unique. You get them either at 1st level or 3rd level, sometimes 2nd level, depending on the class. Not a whole lot of classes are like that. But between 1st and 3rd level, you're going to pick up a subclass. That determines what your class can do from there on out. You get features as you periodically level up. They do different things. It's like the flavor of your character. Everyone starts out as vanilla bean, and then sometimes they get chocolate mixed in and they become a vanilla swirl. Or sometimes you're a warlock and you start out as a mint chocolate chip or a bubble gum. Tasha's Cauldron of Everything is a staple book because it gives you so much for $30. The other one is Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, which is now superseded by Mordenkainen's Monsters of the Multiverse. It used to be Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. It is now Monsters of the Multiverse. This gives you 34 species options. This is the most options you're going to get out of one book. You pick this book up and Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, you have 3/4 of most of the content of D&D Beyond for $60. You don't have to buy these books to play. You don't. But if you're going to buy these books, buy these books first. They give you the most. The other one you're probably going to want to pick up is the Player's Handbook. You don't need to buy the DM's Guide. It's not going to teach you how to be a DM. It is going to give you pointers, and it's going to help, but it's not a guidebook. It doesn't give you step-by-step instructions. So, with that, we're going to roll into virtual tabletops. So we have Foundry. Foundry's a VTT. It's very complex. One of the key features is it has lighting options. It has doors, transitions. It has modules. It has a built-in dice roller. It integrates with D&D Beyond, which is fun. That it's one of my favorite features of Foundry. I haven't gotten to use Foundry. I've heard very good things. DMs I play with Foundry love it. Next is Roll20. Roll20 is a virtual tabletop and a marketplace. If you don't want to use D&D Beyond, you can just use Roll20. It has a character sheet. It has a marketplace. It has its own thing. It also integrates with D&D Beyond. So if you have purchased books in D&D Beyond, they can load into Roll20, to my understanding. But if you buy a book in D&D Beyond, it does not become available to you in Roll20 and vice versa. You have to pick. If you're going to buy one, make sure you buy them from the same place. It's like a Steam store, unfortunately. None of this is a sponsorship. I should have prefaced that at the beginning. Not sponsored by any of these things. I'm just pointing out that they exist. Map tool. Map tools like TeamSpeak. It's going to ask you to do a lot of the heavy lifting, and ask you to set up a server. It doesn't hold your hand. So Google's going to be your friend using this one. There's also, this one is the one I use a lot with my friends. Discord has an activity called Jam Whiteboard. Jamboard or Jam Whiteboard. It is a whiteboard activity. You can just load it up and load in a map and load in tokens, and play D&D on this little whiteboard activity. If you're going to do that, you're going to need a dice roller. Roll dice with your friends allows you to create a lobby where everyone can see each other's dice rolls, which is great. That's so no one can cheat. Everyone can see each other. Or you could just use D&D Beyond. Same function. When you roll, there's a roll history. So, like, bam. Look at that. Natural 20. What a fantastic way to start. And then there's a history. There's a log. I don't know where it went. Oh, it's right here. So there's a log. So you should have told me. I don't think I'm in a campaign, which is why. But if you're in a campaign, it'll track the rolls and do a log. If you don't want to do that, Brock Jones Dice Roller is fantastic. It allows you to roll dice, make complex dice calculations, do stat rolls just by hitting a button. So these are the various stat rolls that people use. The default is roll 4d6, drop the lowest. Roll 4d6, reroll ones. 2d6 plus 6. This is just, you get an automatic 6. You just don't get to drop one. 3d6 strict means you get 3d6 and don't drop anything. 3d6 3 times, use the highest. This means you roll 3 times. And use the highest out of those 3. This is going to be the most rolling. This is going to take some time. Not recommended. People do a bunch of different things. I'll say it again. Talk to your GM. He'll explain what his expectations are of you. Finally, one of the nicest things about this, it has an SRD. The SRD is the standard reference document. This is everything that Wizards doesn't own. This is part of the OGL, the Open Game License. This means that they had to publicize things, and they had to go to the public domain immediately. The Flail Snail, we'll pull that up. It pulls it up. Sorry for the flashbang. But yeah. And this also gives you PSRD. This is Pathfinder Standard Reference Document. This allows you to look at Pathfinder. Pathfinder is very, very, very open. I will explain Pathfinder someday. That is not today. And I believe that's it. I appreciate everyone coming out. D&D is not as challenging as everyone makes it out to be. I'm going to make a video on GMing hopefully soon. And have fun. That's the main thing. Have fun. Thanks for coming out.